Welcome back to Cooking the Salmon. I mean, cooking a half. Today we're gonna make cinnamon swirl potato bread.
Artie has a day off from school, so he's not here right now, but he's coming later to taste bread and maybe do some rolling and things. But I'm gonna get started and make this dough. In my stand mixer, I already have my yeast, a little bit of the sugar, and some milk, getting nice and foamy. It's not 100% necessary to bloom your yeast before you start. You can just throw it in, but it's a good test to see how active your yeast is and make sure that things are good before you move on. Now I'm gonna add my 4 cups of flour and the rest of my sugar, a teaspoon of salt, and now I'm gonna add my 3/4 cup of russet potato mashed. And that is gonna make the dough really soft. It's gonna make the final bread really tender. It's gonna make the crumb light, and it's gonna stay fresh for longer. And also, 1 egg, 1 egg yolk. Artie is the master of cracking eggs.
Yeah, now split it open over the bowl.
Some on my feet.
90% got in there.
So it's 1 egg, 1 whole egg and 1 egg yolk. The extra egg yolk is basically just for added richness. A more delicious bread. You can absolutely make this without a stand mixer. It's just gonna be a little more elbow grease. So that started to come together. I'm gonna add my butter a little bit at a time. It's actually fun to work this dough by hand when you're doing it with your kids. It feels really good. It's a nice soft dough. Now we just wait. I'm gonna do this by hand a little bit. So this dough looks pretty good to me. You can see it's smooth and stretchy. It's not lumpy. You can't see any of the potato anymore. When you want to take a nap on it is basically when you know it's ready. So now this can go into a buttered bowl, cover it and set it aside to rise. It should double. This can take somewhere between an hour, sometimes 2, because there's so much sugar and butter and stuff in this dough. Just keep an eye on it. Don't look at the clock, look at the dough. Check out this dough. It's puffy and beautiful. It's doubled in size. It took about an hour. So now we have to make our filling, and that's 3/4 cup of brown sugar, light or dark, and 2 tablespoons of ground cinnamon. Mix that together. This is for 2 loaves, don't forget. You could very easily cut this recipe in half if you just wanted to make 1, but I always think that if you're going through all the trouble of making bread, you might as well make 2 because it freezes beautifully. Set that aside. Now we'll take this beautiful, it feels so nice. It feels like cheeks. It feels like Artie's cheeks when he was a baby. Okay, let's kick it out onto a lightly floured surface. Wow. Oh my God, it's so soft. And we'll just split it in half. You can weigh it if you want. I'm just gonna eyeball it. We're gonna pat this out into an 8 by 14 inch rectangle. I think it's easier to just do it with your hands, but you can use a rolling pin if you want. At this point, you really shouldn't need very much flour. And now, we're gonna use half of your cinnamon sugar mixture. And then roll. Look at that little cutie. Okay, pinch the seams closed. Put it in seam side down. Cover it lightly with plastic and let it rise. It should come up maybe like 1/4 inch above the top of the pan. That's how you know it's ready to bake. It does take a little bit of time, but it's all hands-off time, so it's not too hard. We're back. Our bread has risen. Look how nicely it's risen, Bug.
Whoa!
Yeah, so it's come up, I'd say about 1/2 inch above the lip of the pan. And now we can egg wash it. Do you want to do the egg wash? I have in this little bowl an egg white and a little bit of milk. Do you want to brush the egg wash on here, or do you want me to do it?
Me.
Okay. Do it really gently without pushing on the dough. Can you do that?
Okay.
Without pushing. Lighter, lighter. Yeah, there. So this egg wash is gonna make it nice and brown and shiny. I'm gonna take over because I'm a little worried. Because you have to use a really light touch so that the bread doesn't deflate.
What does deflate mean?
What happens when you pop a balloon?
Poo! It popped. Did I just say poo? Really not poo.
And then
It is really funny.
this goes into a 350-degree oven for about 30 minutes. You want the internal temperature to read 190 on an instant read.
Ugh.
If you don't have an instant read, you can know by just sort of knocking it and it'll sound sort of hollow. You take a nap until the bread's ready. Okay, little friends.
Like and subscribe for more yummy recipes.
So these have just come out of the oven. They've been in their pan for about 5 minutes, and I'm gonna pull it out and let it cool on the rack for at least 20-25 minutes before you try to slice it. We're gonna taste our bread. Look how nice
I
it
already
looks.
tasted.
You did?
Yeah.
Look at how soft and yummy it is. Here, try that part. The middles are always really good. What do you think?
Go.
Good?
Mmm.
I mean, this is basically my favorite thing in the whole world. Get the recipe at food52.com. Wahaha.
This happens every